Have you ever logged on to Tubi and just felt absolutely overwhelmed with all of the horror movie choices, and before you know it, you've almost finished all of your popcorn before you've picked anything to watch? It happens to me too, so don't feel bad, but I'm going to give you 10 amazing horror movies to watch on Tubi right now as we prepare for spooky season. For you classic horror lovers, I'm going to recommend Child's Play, the original, not the remake. This story follows young Andy Barkley, who all he wants for his special happy good birthday is a good guy doll. These are all the rage this year, but unfortunately this particular good guy doll has been possessed by serial killer Charles Lee Ray, also known as Chucky. And this doll operates without batteries. It attacks Andy, it attacks his mom, it gaslights Andy. All kinds of gnarly things happen in this movie. It is a killer doll film. It is super spooky. If you're a horror fan, you've probably seen this already, but just in case you haven't, or you're a new horror fan, highly suggest Child's Play. It's a classic and it is a must-watch this Halloween season. Number 2 on the list is for all you Rob Zombie fans out there. This one is my personal favorite of his films, and I also believe it to be his best film, and it is, of course, The Devil's Rejects. After a raid on the rural home of the psychopathic Firefly family, 2 members of the clan, Otis and Baby, manage to flee the scene. Heading to a remote desert motel, the killers reunite with Baby's father, Captain Spaulding, who is equally demented and intent on maintaining their murder spree. While the trio continues to torment and kill various victims, the vengeful Sheriff Wydell, played by William Forsythe, slowly closes in on them. And let me tell you something, Sheriff Wydell has no problems being just as sadistic as the Firefly family themselves. If you haven't seen this yet, it may be on the disturbing, edgy side for some of you. Still, I highly suggest it, especially if you're a Rob Zombie fan. Number 3 is the newest horror movie we have on the list, and it is Ready or Not, starring Samara Weaving in the role of Grace, who is a newlywed that just married the man of her dreams, who also happens to be like a freaking gazillionaire. The only problem with this man is his family, whom at some point made a deal with the devil, and they have to hunt their son's new wife down in a sadistic game of hide and go seek. And if they don't kill her before sunup, their entire empire comes crashing down all around them. And I have to say, I was a little bit on the fence about this one the first time I watched it, but I absolutely love it. It's got some good gore, it's got some good funny moments, a good story that you don't have to take too seriously, and some great characters. And let me tell you something, Samara Weaving pulls absolutely no punches in this movie. She's a modern day scream queen, and it is on full display in this movie. Number 4 on the list is for you folks who like a little something funny mixed in your horror movie goodness. It is Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which follows 2 backwoods pals that have just built their own vacation home in the middle of the woods, and some ignorant college kids decide that these backwoods hillbillies must be serial killers, you know, because they're rednecks. And this movie hits home for me literally because it takes place in West Virginia. And even if it didn't, this movie is absolutely hilarious. A ton, and I mean a ton of gore, some creative kills, and some absolutely lovable characters, especially the dog. Watch it. At number 5, we have something for you found footage fans out there, Grave Encounters. This movie follows a group of paranormal investigators. Think of something like Ghost Adventures and Zach Baggins. And they are shooting their 6th episode of their brand new show entitled Grave Encounters. So they go to an abandoned psychiatric hospital expecting nothing to be out of the ordinary. They have yet to spot a ghost or capture anything on film in the entirety of their series. We're not even sure if their leader even believes in ghosts. But this asylum is about to make him a believer. Just as you expect it, things go horribly awry for this entire group of paranormal investigators. And with all the chills and spine-tingling goodness you would come to expect out of a found footage paranormal film, this one is severely underrated. Nobody ever talks about it, but I'm telling you right now, you have to watch Grave Encounters. You are really going to like it, and if not, you can come back here and yell at me, okay? At number 6 is a movie for the beast inside of all of us, Ginger Snaps, which is the story of two outcast sisters, Ginger, played by Scream Queen Katharine Isabelle, and Bridget, also played by Scream Queen Emily Perkins, in the mindless suburban town of Bailey Downs. On the night of Ginger's first period, she is savagely attacked by a wild creature. Spoiler alert, it's a werewolf. Ginger's wounds miraculously heal, but something is not quite right. Now Bridget must save her sister and save herself. The first time I watched this movie, I'll never forget it, because I sat down and I was immediately just pulled in, just sucked in, couldn't turn away, couldn't hit pause, couldn't do anything else at all but focus on this movie. And I think a big part of that is the sister bond between our two main characters. There's comedic elements, some good practical effects in here, but that sister bond, and even the mom comes through at the end. Just watch it. That's all I'm saying. Just watch it. Great werewolf movie. Very underseen movie. Number 7 is for those of us who don't like feeling safe in our own homes. Weirdos. You're next! The Davisons, an upper-class family, are extremely wealthy, but also estranged. In an attempt to mend their broken family ties, Aubrey and Paul Davison decide to celebrate their wedding anniversary by inviting their 4 children and their children's significant others to their weekend estate. The celebration gets off to a rocky start, but when crossbow-wielding assailants in animal masks suddenly attack, the Davisons must pull together or die. Think of this movie like a more action-packed version of The Strangers, where instead of Liv Tyler's character being all and being able to kick some serious butt like Aaron does in this movie, not only is this movie super fun and super scary, it's just flat out entertaining, and you get to see a kick-ass woman kick some ass. And don't get it twisted, I love The Strangers. Next up is for you horror anthology lovers. We're talking about Creepshow 2, where we get 3 more horrific tales all bundled up into one beautiful bloody package, baby, and all based on short Stephen King stories. In the first one, we have a shop owner and his wife who is murdered, so the wooden Indian out in front of their shop goes on a murderous, vengeful rampage. In the second story, we have a car full of youngsters who decide they want to have some fun at the lake. Maybe smoke a little pot, maybe have a little bit of premarital sex, but the problem comes when they swim out to a raft in the middle of that lake and then find themselves being pursued by a blob-like creature. And in the last story, we get a cheating wife whom, on the way home from her hunky-dory gigolo's apartment, strikes a hitchhiker on the side of the road with her vehicle, killing him. And instead of stopping, what does she do? She flees the scene, and the hitchhiker flees with her, pursuing her on her road trip home. No matter how many more times she hits him with her vehicle or even drives him through the woods, ramming him into trees, this hitchhiker is absolutely relentless, and he is not going to stop until he gets his revenge. This is a great anthology, one of my favorites, and in my opinion, it stands right up there alongside with the original Creepshow. At number 9, we have something that some of you might find very disturbing. The Poughkeepsie Tapes. In an abandoned house in Poughkeepsie, New York, murder investigators uncover hundreds of tapes showing decades of a serial killer's work. So here, once again, we have a found footage film, but it's also a very disturbing film. So this isn't going to be for all of you, but if you do want something disturbing, this one fits the bill. You are going to get a serial killer at his absolute worst. You are going to get mental torture, you are going to get physical torture, and you are going to get one of the creepiest scenes in any horror film of all time. I'm just telling you now. I like it, you might not, but if you want to give it a shot, watch the Poughkeepsie tapes. Next up is for those of us who wonder what we would do if we were in a certain situation, and I'm talking about a little movie called Frozen, which follows a group of friends who are headed to a ski resort. They want to get some time on the slopes, but they don't have all the money required to hit those slopes. What? Come on, guys, you planned for this. What are you doing? You didn't bring enough money? They bribe the ski lift operator to let them hit the slopes, maybe look a different way while all three of them pile onto the chairlift. And what happens? Well, they're not accounted for. So when the shift change occurs and they shut off the lift, these guys get absolutely stranded like 50 feet up in the freaking air with no way to get down in the middle of a blizzard. So you just have to ask yourself, what would you do in this situation? And you get to see what these people did. Maybe you'll agree with it, maybe you won't, but it makes for one heck of a scary movie. Now, once you're finished watching all these horror movies on Tubi, I'm doing videos on both HBO Max and Netflix, and we're going to look at some of the best horror movies they have to offer. So make sure you watch those as well. And also check out my upcoming video on my 31 days of Halloween list. You're going to get to see everything I'm watching until Halloween Day. And then, of course, everybody should know what I'm watching that day, right? Right? Tell me in the comments if you know. Until next time, my friends, look horror, listen horror, talk horror.